The day started like any other on Earth. People went to work, children played in parks, and life moved on as usual. But high above the blue planet, hidden from human eyes, a great danger was coming. The Galactic Council, a group of powerful alien races, had decided that Earth was a problem. Humans were too wild, too unpredictable. The Council feared that one day, humans might become a threat to their power. So they made a plan to attack Earth and take control. At exactly 12:00 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, it happened. The sky turned dark as thousands of alien ships appeared out of nowhere. They were huge, each one as big as a city. People looked up in fear and wonder. Some thought it was a movie or a trick, but it was all too real. The alien ships didn't wait. They started firing strange weapons. Beams of light hit major cities around the world. New York, London, Tokyo, and many others were hit first. Buildings fell like they were made of paper. The ground shook, and the air filled with smoke and screams. World leaders were caught completely by surprise. They had no idea aliens even existed, let alone that they were about to attack. In Washington, D.C., the president was rushed to a safe room deep underground. Similar scenes played out in capitals around the world. Military bases scrambled to respond. Fighter jets took off, missiles were launched, and soldiers prepared for battle. But Earth's weapons seemed useless against the alien ships. Missiles exploded harmlessly against their shields. Fighter jets were swatted out of the sky like flies. As the first day of the invasion went on, things got worse and worse. The aliens landed troops in major cities. They looked strange, tall, with gray skin and 4 arms. They carried weapons that shot beams of energy, easily cutting through anything in their way. Human soldiers fought bravely, but they were outmatched. The alien weapons and armor were far more advanced. In just a few hours, many of Earth's largest cities were under alien control. People ran in panic. Roads were jammed with cars as everyone tried to escape the cities. But there was nowhere safe to go. The aliens were everywhere. On TV and radio, reporters tried to make sense of what was happening. But no one really understood. How could this be real? Why were the aliens attacking? What did they want? As night fell on that first terrible day, the true horror of the situation became clear. This wasn't just an attack. It was an invasion. The aliens weren't leaving. They were here to stay. In the ruins of New York City, a small group of survivors huddled in a dark subway tunnel. They could hear the sound of alien ships and strange voices above. Sarah, a young teacher, held a crying child close. "What are we going to do?" she whispered. Next to her, an old man named John shook his head. "I don't know," he said, "but we can't give up. We have to fight back somehow." On the other side of the world, in a military bunker in China, General Zhang looked at reports coming in from around the globe. It was all bad news. Earth's military forces were being crushed everywhere. He slammed his fist on the table in frustration. "There must be a way to stop them," he shouted. Meanwhile, high above the Earth, the alien leaders watched with satisfaction. Everything was going according to plan. One of them, a tall figure with shimmering blue skin, turned to the others. "You see," he said, "these humans are weak. They can't possibly stop us. Soon, Earth will be ours." But he was wrong. The aliens had made a big mistake. They thought they knew everything about Earth and its people. They thought humans would be easy to conquer. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. As the first day of the invasion ended, something was happening that the aliens didn't expect. All over the world, in hidden places, humans were starting to fight back. They were scared, yes, but they were also angry. And they weren't going to give up their world without a fight. In London, a group of teenagers used their computer skills to hack into the alien communication systems. In Brazil, farmers used their knowledge of the land to set traps for alien patrols. In Japan, scientists worked through the night, looking for any weakness in the alien technology. The aliens thought they had won, but the battle for Earth was just beginning. Humanity was down, but not out. And soon, very soon, they would show the galaxy why you should never, ever underestimate the human race. A week had passed since the alien invasion began. The world was in chaos. Major cities lay in ruins, and billions of people were hiding or running. But something was changing. Humans were starting to fight back. In a secret lab deep under the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Emily Chen worked nonstop. She hadn't slept in days. Her eyes were red, and her hands shook from too much coffee. But she didn't care. She was close to a breakthrough. "Look at this," she said to her team, pointing at a screen. "The alien shields, they're not perfect. There's a weakness." Her colleague, Dr. James Wilson, leaned in closer. "You're right," he said, his eyes wide. "If we hit them with just the right frequency, we might be able to bring them down," Emily finished. She allowed herself a small smile. It wasn't much, but it was hope. Meanwhile, in the ruins of Paris, a group of survivors huddled in the dark tunnels of the metro. They called themselves the Resistance. Pierre, their leader, was speaking. "We're not alone," he said. "I've made contact with other groups. In New York, in Tokyo, in Cairo. We're all fighting back." Sarah, a former tech worker, spoke up. "I've managed to hack into the alien communications. We can listen to their plans now." A cheer went up from the group. It was dangerous work, but they were making progress. Across the world, similar scenes were playing out. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes used their knowledge of the jungle to ambush alien patrols. In the Australian outback, farmers turned their vast lands into traps for alien vehicles. The aliens were starting to realize that conquering Earth wasn't as easy as they thought. In their main ship, hovering over what used to be New York City, the alien commander, Zaxthar, was angry. "How is this possible?" he roared. "They're primitives. How are they resisting us?" His second-in-command, Vexlar, looked nervous. "Sir, we may have underestimated them. These humans, they're adaptable. They're using their environment against us." Zaxthar slammed his fist down. "Find a way to crush them. We cannot fail." But the aliens were facing problems they hadn't expected. Earth's varied ecosystems were causing havoc with their technology. In the humid jungles, their sensors malfunctioned. In the icy poles, their vehicles froze up. And everywhere, humans were learning to exploit these weaknesses. Back in the underground lab, Dr. Chen had a new problem. "We've figured out how to bring down their shields," she said, "but we need a way to transmit the signal globally." Dr. Wilson thought for a moment. "What about the old satellite network? If we could reactivate it?" Emily's eyes lit up. "Yes, but we'd need to get to a ground station. And they're all in alien-controlled areas." Just then, a soldier burst into the room. "Doctors, we've received a message from the Resistance in Paris. They say they can help." Across the world, the message spread through hidden networks. A plan was forming. It was dangerous, maybe impossible, but it was a chance. In Paris, Pierre briefed his team. "We need to take control of the satellite station outside the city. It won't be easy, but if we succeed, we can give the whole world a fighting chance." Sarah, the hacker, spoke up. "I can guide them once they're inside. I know the systems." Pierre nodded. "Good. We move tonight." As darkness fell, the Resistance moved through the ruins of Paris. They used sewers and old tunnels, avoiding alien patrols. It was dangerous, but they had surprise on their side. The alien guards at the satellite station never saw them coming. In minutes, the humans had control. Sarah's fingers flew over the keyboard, reactivating old systems. "We're in," she shouted, sending the signal. Now, around the world, other teams were doing the same. In secret bases and hidden bunkers, scientists and soldiers worked together. They were ready. Dr. Chen held her breath as she activated the device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, The sky lit up. All around the world, alien ships started to fall. In New York, Zack Thar watched in horror as his fleet plummeted from the sky. "Impossible," he screamed. But it was happening. All over Earth, humans cheered as they saw the alien ships crash. It wasn't over, not by a long shot. But for the first time since the invasion began, humanity had hope. In Paris, Pierre and his team watched the sky in awe. Sarah turned to him, tears in her eyes. "We did it," she said. "We really did it." Pierre nodded, his face serious. "We did, but this is just the beginning. Now, the real fight starts." As dawn broke on a new day, the people of Earth stood ready. They had found their hidden strength, and they were going to take their planet back. The fall of the alien ships had given humanity new hope, but the war was far from over. The aliens still had troops on the ground, and they were angry. The real fight was about to begin. In the ruins of Chicago, a group of engineers were hard at work. They had an idea that seemed crazy, but it just might work. "Are you sure about this, Mike?" asked Lisa, looking at the strange device in front of her. Mike nodded, wiping sweat from his forehead. "It's our best shot. We can't match their tech, so we have to outsmart them." What they had created looked like a mess of wires and old car parts, but it was actually a powerful EMP device designed to fry alien tech. Meanwhile, in the mountains of Afghanistan, a group of local fighters and former soldiers were preparing for battle. They had been watching the aliens, learning their patterns. "They always follow the same routes," said Amira, pointing to a map. "We can use that against them." Her partner, John, a former U.S. Marine, nodded. "Guerrilla tactics, hit them hard and fast, then disappear. It's our only chance." All across the world, similar scenes were playing out. Humans were adapting, using their knowledge of the land and their own technology in ways the aliens never expected. In Brazil, farmers turned their crop dusters into bombers, dropping homemade explosives on alien patrols. In Japan, hackers used the aliens' own communication networks against them, feeding them false information and leading them into traps. The aliens were struggling to adapt. They had never faced an enemy like this before. In their command center, Zack Thar was furious. "How are they doing this?" he roared. "They're primitives. We should have crushed them by now." Vexlar, his second in command, looked worried. "Sir, we underestimated them. They're using tactics we've never seen before. Our troops don't know how to respond." Back in Chicago, Mike and Lisa's team was ready. They waited until an alien patrol came close, then activated their device. There was a loud buzz, then silence. The alien vehicles stopped dead in their tracks. "It worked," Lisa shouted. The team cheered, then quickly moved in to capture the stunned aliens. In Afghanistan, Amira and John's plan was in motion. They led a small team, planting traps along the alien patrol route. When the aliens came, they were caught completely off guard. "Now," Amira shouted. Explosions rocked the mountain pass. The aliens, confused and scared, fell right into the ambush. John couldn't believe his eyes. "We did it," he said, watching the aliens retreat. "We actually did it." Similar victories were happening all over the world. Humans were fighting back, and they were winning. In Australia, Aborigines used their incredible tracking skills to hunt down alien scouts. In Russia, old Soviet-era weapons were pulled out of storage and modified to fight the new enemy. But the biggest surprise came from an unexpected place. In a small lab in India, a young scientist named Raj had made an incredible discovery. "Look at this," he said to his colleague Priya. He pointed to a screen showing alien DNA. "Their genetic structure, it's not that different from ours." Priya's eyes widened. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" Raj nodded. "We might be able to create a biological weapon, something that targets them but leaves us unharmed." The news spread quickly through the Human Resistance Network. It was a game changer. In New York, Now the alien headquarters, Zaxthar received the reports with growing horror. Nothing was going as planned. These humans were supposed to be easy to conquer. Instead, they were proving to be the toughest enemy the Galactic Council had ever faced. "We need reinforcements," he said to Vexlar. "Call the Council. Tell them we need everything they can send." But even as he said it, Zaxthar knew it might be too late. The humans had found their strength, and they were using it in ways the aliens had never imagined. As the sun set on another day of battle, the mood on Earth had changed. Fear was turning to determination. Despair was becoming hope. In hidden bases and secret labs, in mountain hideouts and underground bunkers, humans were planning, building, and fighting back. In Chicago, Mike and Lisa looked out over the city. Fires burned where their EMP had taken down alien ships, but for the first time, the flames looked like victory, not defeat. "Do you think we can win this?" Lisa asked. Mike nodded slowly. "Yeah," he said. "Yeah, I think we can." Across the world, millions of humans shared that feeling. The aliens had started this war, but humanity was going to finish it. And when it was over, the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months had passed since the alien invasion began. The world had changed beyond recognition. But something else had changed too. Humanity was fighting back, and they were starting to win. In a hidden military base beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Sarah Rodriguez looked at the global map. Red dots showed alien strongholds. Green dots showed human victories. For the first time, there were more green than red. "It's time," she said to her team. "We're ready for a coordinated global strike." Meanwhile, in a lab in Tokyo, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka held up a strange-looking gun. It wasn't like any weapon the world had seen before. "We've done it," he said to his team. "We've reverse-engineered their energy weapons. Now we can fight them on equal terms." Across the world, similar breakthroughs were happening. In Brazil, scientists had figured out how to jam alien communications. In Egypt, engineers had built shields that could stop alien energy blasts. The aliens were feeling the pressure. In their main ship over New York, Commander Zaxthar was in a panic. "How is this possible?" he shouted. "These humans, they're learning too fast." His second-in-command, Vexlar, looked grim. "Sir, we've lost contact with our bases in Asia and Africa. The humans, they're overrunning us." Back on the ground, the counterattack was in full swing. In London, a team led by former car mechanic Jack Smith had turned the London Eye into a massive EMP device. With one push of a button, they took out every alien ship in the city. "Take that, you space bastards," Jack yelled as alien craft fell from the sky. In the Australian outback, Aboriginal trackers led squads of soldiers through the desert. They ambushed alien patrols with deadly precision, using the harsh landscape to their advantage. "They may have fancy tech," said Elder Waru to his young warriors, "but this is our land. We know it better than anyone." The tide was turning all over the world. Humans were reclaiming their cities, pushing the aliens back step by step. In Moscow, Russian hackers had taken control of alien drones, turning them against their masters. The sight of alien machines attacking their own forces spread panic among the invaders. But the biggest breakthrough came from an unexpected place. In a small lab in Kenya, Dr. Amina Okello made a discovery that would change everything. "Look at this," she said to her colleague, pointing at a screen. "They're ships. The metal they're made of. It reacts to a specific frequency of sound." Her colleague, Dr. Tom Baker, leaned in closer. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" Amina nodded, a smile spreading across her face. "We can shatter their ships with sound waves." The news spread like wildfire through the human resistance network. Soon, makeshift sonic weapons were being built all over the world. In New York, now the center of alien control on Earth, Zaxthar received the reports with growing horror. Nothing was going as planned. These humans weren't just resisting. They were winning. "We need to retreat," Vexlar said, his voice shaking. "If we stay, we'll be destroyed." But Zaxthar wouldn't listen. "No, we can't lose to these primitives. We'll throw everything we have at them." It was a fatal mistake. As the aliens prepared for one final, massive attack, the humans were ready. General Rodriguez gave the order. "All units, commence Operation Thunderclap." All around the world, at exactly the same moment, humans activated their new sonic weapons. The sky filled with an ear-splitting howl. Alien ships began to shake, then crack, then explode. In London, Jack whooped with joy as he watched the alien mothership break apart over the Thames. In the Australian desert, Elder Waru nodded with satisfaction as the last alien patrol in his territory fell. And in New York, Zaxthar watched in disbelief as his mighty invasion force crumbled around him. "Impossible," he whispered, but it was happening. As the sun set on that historic day, cheers erupted from every corner of the globe. Humans poured into the streets, hugging strangers, crying with joy. They had done it. Against all odds, they had turned the tide. In the Rocky Mountain base, General Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. "We're not done yet," she said to her team. "But today, we've shown the galaxy what humanity can do." The war wasn't over. There were still battles to be fought, aliens to be driven off the planet. But something had changed fundamentally. Humanity had proved itself. They had faced the greatest threat in their history, and they had risen to the challenge. As night fell, people all over the world looked up at the stars. But now, instead of fear, their eyes held a new emotion: determination. The aliens had brought the fight to Earth. Now, humanity was ready to take the fight to the stars. 6 months after the invasion began, Earth was free. The last alien ships had been destroyed or driven away. But humanity wasn't satisfied with just defending their home. They wanted to make sure this never happened again. It was time to take the fight to the stars. In a secret facility in the Mojave Desert, a team of engineers and former alien captives worked day and night. Their project: to get humans into space using alien technology. Dr. Emily Chen, the scientist who had discovered the alien shield weakness, stood in front of a massive ship. It looked like a mix of human and alien design. "We call it the Phoenix," she said to General Rodriguez, "because humanity is rising from the ashes of this war." The general nodded, her eyes wide with awe. "How soon can it fly?" "We're ready for the first test flight today," Emily replied with a smile. Meanwhile, in orbit around Earth, a small team of astronauts and soldiers had taken control of an alien space station. Captain Michael Okoye floated in the control room, looking down at the blue planet below. "I never thought I'd see Earth from up here," he said to his team. "Especially not like this." His second-in-command, Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka, nodded. "And now we're going to use this station to defend our home." Back on Earth, the Phoenix was ready for launch. Emily and her team held their breath as the engines roared to life. The ship shuddered, then slowly began to rise. "It's working," someone shouted. Cheers erupted in the control room as the Phoenix soared into the sky, quickly becoming a tiny dot in the distance. In space, Captain Okoye and his team watched in amazement as the Phoenix approached their station. "I can't believe it," Yuki said. "We built that in 6 months." Michael grinned. Never underestimate human determination. As the Phoenix docked with the station, humanity took its first real step into the galaxy. But they weren't done yet. In labs and workshops all over the world, humans were studying alien technology. They were learning fast, figuring out how to build their own versions of alien weapons and ships. In an underground base in Siberia, Dr. Alexei Volkov held up a small device. "With this," he said to his team, "we can open wormholes. We can travel anywhere in the galaxy in seconds." His words sent shockwaves through the global scientific community. Suddenly, the whole galaxy was within reach. As humans prepared to venture into space, they made an important discovery. The alien invaders had been sending messages back to their home world. Earth now knew where the enemy came from. In the White House, now rebuilt after the invasion, world leaders met to discuss their next move. "We can't just wait for them to attack again," the U.S. president said. "We need to take the fight to them." The Chinese premier nodded in agreement. "We will build a fleet, a human fleet, to defend Earth and explore the stars." And so, Operation Starfall was born. All over the world, shipyards sprang up. Massive ships, far larger than the Phoenix, began to take shape. In orbit, more space stations were built. They served as defense platforms and construction yards for even more ships. Captain Okoye, now Admiral Okoye, stood on the bridge of humanity's first real starship. It was called the Avenger, and it was the lead ship of Earth's new fleet. "All systems ready," Admiral Yuki, now his first officer, reported. Michael took a deep breath. "Then let's make history. Set course for the Alpha Centauri system. Maximum speed." The Avenger's engines flared to life. In a flash of light, it disappeared into a wormhole, taking humanity's hopes and dreams with it. Back on Earth, people gathered around screens to watch the historic moment. Emily Chen, standing in her lab, felt tears in her eyes as she watched the ship vanish. "We did it," she whispered. "We're out there now." General Rodriguez, standing next to her, nodded solemnly. "And we're not going as conquerors or invaders. We're going to explore, to learn, and yes, to defend ourselves if we need to." As news of the Avengers' successful jump spread, a new feeling swept across Earth. It wasn't just pride or relief. It was excitement. The galaxy was open to them now, full of wonders and dangers and opportunities. Humans looked up at the night sky with new eyes. Those distant stars weren't just pretty lights anymore. They were destinations, new worlds to explore, new civilizations to meet. And if anyone out there thought humans were easy targets, well, Earth was ready to teach them just how wrong they were. The invasion had tried to crush humanity. Instead, it had launched them into a new age of exploration and adventure. The stars were calling, and humanity was ready to answer. 1 year had passed since humanity first ventured into deep space. The Avenger and its fleet had been busy. They had explored new worlds, made contact with other alien races, and gathered crucial intelligence about the Galactic Council. Admiral Michael Okoye stood on the bridge of the Avenger, looking at a holographic map of the galaxy. Red dots showed Council-controlled worlds. There were a lot of them. "It's time," he said to his crew. "We're ready to take the fight to the Council." His first officer, Yuki Tanaka, nodded. "The fleet is assembled, Admiral. Earth is standing by." Meanwhile, on a distant planet called Sora, an unlikely alliance was forming. Captain Emily Chen, now a diplomat, was meeting with representatives from other races oppressed by the Council. "The Council has ruled through fear for too long," Emily said to the gathered aliens. "Humanity is ready to stand against them. Will you join us?" The alien representatives looked at each other. Then, one by one, they nodded. A coalition was born. Back on Earth, in the rebuilt United Nations building, world leaders were gathered. The U.S. President stood to address them. "Today, we launch Operation Justice," she said. "Our fleet, along with our new allies, will strike at the heart of the Galactic Council. We fight not just for Earth, but for all free peoples of the galaxy." Cheers erupted in the chamber. Humanity was ready for the biggest fight of its existence. In space, the human fleet gathered. Hundreds of ships built with a mix of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech. They were joined by ships from their new alien allies. Admiral Okoye addressed the fleet. "Today, we fight for more than just Earth. We fight for justice, for freedom, for the right of all species to live without fear. May fortune favor the brave." With a flash, the fleet jumped into hyperspace, heading for the Council's home system. The Galactic Council was caught completely off guard. They never expected the humans to strike so boldly, so quickly. Zaxthar, now the head of the council, watched in horror as the combined fleet appeared in their system. "Impossible," he shouted. "How did they find us? How did they get here so fast?" His advisors scrambled to respond, but it was too late. The attack had begun. The battle was fierce. Council ships, though advanced, were overwhelmed by the sheer variety of tactics used by the human-led fleet. Earth ships darted in and out, using maneuvers never seen before in space combat. On the Avenger, Admiral Okoye directed the battle. Group A flanked their left. Group B prepare for the sonic attack. A massive wave of sound rippled through space, shattering council ships like glass. Meanwhile, Emily led a team onto the council's space station. They fought their way through corridors, using a mix of human and alien weapons. "We need to reach the central chamber," Emily shouted over the noise of battle. "That's where the council leaders will be." As they neared the chamber, they met heavy resistance. But Emily's team was prepared. They used EMP devices to disable the council's advanced weapons, then pushed forward. Finally, they reached the central chamber. Emily burst in, weapon raised, to find Zaxthar and the other council leaders cowering in fear. "In the name of Earth and all free peoples of the galaxy," Emily declared, "you are under arrest." Outside, the battle was turning decisively in favor of the human-led fleet. Council ships were surrendering en masse. Admiral Okoye received the news of Emily's success with a grim smile. "Send the message to all council worlds," he ordered. "The reign of the Galactic Council is over." Across the galaxy, oppressed races heard the news with joy and disbelief. The council, which had seemed invincible for so long, had fallen in a single day. As the dust settled, Emily and Michael met on the captured council station. They looked out at the stars, now free from the council's tyranny. "What happens now?" Emily asked. Michael smiled. "Now we build something better. A galactic alliance based on freedom and mutual respect." Back on Earth, people celebrated in the streets. Humanity had not only survived an alien invasion, but had gone on to liberate an entire galaxy. In the UN chamber, world leaders gathered again. The president addressed them, her voice filled with pride. "Today marks a new era," she said. "Earth is no longer alone. We are part of a greater galactic community, and we will lead by example, showing the universe the best of what humanity can be." As night fell, people all over Earth looked up at the stars. But now those stars didn't seem distant or cold. They were full of new friends. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. They had shown the galaxy that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is the indomitable spirit of a species that refuses to give up. The story of Earth's revenge was over. The story of humanity's role in a new free galaxy was just beginning. 5 years had passed since the fall of the Galactic Council. The galaxy was a very different place now. Earth, once a backwater planet, had become the center of a new interstellar alliance. Admiral Michael Okoye, now retired, stood on a balcony in the new Galactic Alliance headquarters on Mars. He watched as ships from 100 different worlds came and went. "Did you ever think we'd see something like this?" asked a familiar voice. Emily Chen, now the Earth's ambassador to the Alliance, joined him at the railing. Michael shook his head, smiling. "Never in my wildest dreams. We've come so far in such a short time." Down in the main hall, representatives from across the galaxy were gathering. It was time for the annual Alliance meeting. The president of the Alliance, a tall alien named Zorn from a planet called Vexer, called the meeting to order. "Friends, allies, welcome. Let us begin by remembering how far we've come." A hologram appeared, showing the galaxy as it was under the Council's rule. Red zones of oppression covered most of the map. Then it shifted, showing the galaxy now. Green zones of freedom and cooperation had replaced the red. "Thanks to the bravery of Earth and all who joined them," Zorn continued, "we live in a free galaxy. But our work is not done." The meeting covered many topics: how to help worlds still recovering from council rule, how to explore new areas of the galaxy safely, how to make sure no one ever became as powerful and corrupt as the council again. Meanwhile, back on Earth, life had changed dramatically. Alien technology had solved many old problems. Clean energy powered everything. Food was plentiful. Diseases that once seemed incurable were easily treated. In a classroom in New Tokyo, a young teacher named Akira Tanaka, Yuki's daughter, was giving a history lesson. Before the invasion, she told her students, humans only dreamed of traveling to the stars. Now, look how far we've come. She showed them pictures of human colonies on distant worlds, of Earth ships exploring the farthest reaches of the galaxy, of humans and aliens working together to build amazing things. One student raised her hand. "Teacher, why did the council attack us in the first place?" Akira smiled sadly. They were afraid. Afraid of what humanity might become, and in trying to stop us, they made their fears come true. In a lab on Europa, Jupiter's moon, Dr. Luis Rodriguez, General Rodriguez's son, was working on a new project. It was a device that could talk to other dimensions. "Careful," he told his team, "a mix of humans and aliens. We're about to make history." They activated the device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a voice came through, speaking a language no one had ever heard before. Luz grinned. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've just made first contact with another dimension." News of the breakthrough spread quickly across the Alliance. Humans, it seemed, were always pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Back at the Alliance meeting, the discussion had turned to the future. "We've explored much of our galaxy," said a reptilian alien named Salik, "but there are still so many mysteries out there." Emily Chen stood up. "Then let's solve them together. Humanity has learned that we're strongest when we work with others. Let's see what we can achieve as a united galaxy." The room erupted in cheers. The alliance that had started as a way to defeat the council had become something much more. It was a family of races, working together to build a better future for all. As the meeting ended, Michael and Emily walked out onto the Martian surface. The red planet, once barren, now had cities under huge domes. It was humanity's first step into living on other worlds. "You know," Michael said, looking up at the stars, "sometimes I think about those aliens who invaded Earth all those years ago." Emily nodded. "They thought they were going to crush us. Instead, they launched us into the stars." Michael laughed. "I wonder what they'd think if they could see us now." As night fell on Mars, lights came on in the domed cities. Ships rose into the sky, heading for distant stars. And all across the galaxy, on countless worlds, people of all species looked up at the night sky with hope. The story of humanity's revenge was long over. But the story of humanity's adventure among the stars, that was just beginning. And if the last few years were anything to go by, it was going to be one amazing ride. Somewhere out there, new wonders were waiting to be discovered. New friends were waiting to be made. New challenges were waiting to be overcome. And humanity, along with their galactic allies, was ready for it all. The universe had better watch out. Humanity was here, and they were just getting started.